welcome back to the Foxtrot Oscar Airsoft YouTube channel. I am Sabrina, Foxtrot Oscar 01, and today I will be talking to you about what I've done to actually customize and change my primary airsoft weapon. Now, I usually run a MARUI HK416. It is a recoil, and I've had her for about 7 or 8 months now, and I'm absolutely in love with her. I don't think I'd ever go back from a recoil at this point. She's amazing. In terms of changes I've made internally, I haven't actually done that much. I think when I first got her, right, there's actually a whole story with this. When I first got her, the first thing I did was chrono her. Now, I was expecting her to be doing around 270 FPS because Tokyo Marui is a Japanese company, and please don't quote me on this, but I think the legal limit is around 270 FPS there. So that's what I was expecting, and I had planned to put in a spring to push her up a bit more, but you know, I obviously wanted to see what she was doing first. She was actually doing around 220, which was obviously a bit lower than I thought she should be doing. So anyway, I knew I was going to have to change the spring, and I then changed the hot rubber. I put in a maple leaf hot rubber and chronoed her again just to make sure everything was okay, and she had actually dropped down to about 102. It was ridiculous. So I fiddled around and got her back up to around 220-ish, which was still a lot lower than I wanted her to be. So I went to change the spring, and I actually hit a brick wall because I opened her up and I saw this. This is the original spring that was in her, and you can see it's got this little hook bit, which I had never seen before, which I'd never had to change before. So I swallowed my pride a bit, and I went to a very good friend of mine who also has a TM recoil, and his whole airsoft team actually run pretty much TM recoils. So, you know, they knew exactly what they were doing. They'd seen it all before, and he asked one of his teammates, Jake, to have a look at it. He was an absolute wizard with TM recoils, and he knew exactly what to do. So I actually gave him 2 springs. I gave him an M95 spring and an M100 spring, so he could have a look and see what he wanted to do. I think the 105 came out around 350, which was, obviously she was designed for about 270, so we didn't want to push her too much. So we put the M95 spring in, and she came out doing around 330 FPS, which I was more than happy with. So I got her back. I had a few skirmishes, a few night games. I actually had a milsim not long after that, and she was absolutely fine. And then I wasn't able to shoot for a bit because I play rugby. I actually had a rugby injury, so I was just out of airsoft for a bit. And I think it was actually Lewis, so Foxtrot Oscar 00, who used her next. He had some issues with his gun and borrowed mine, and when he went to get her chronoed there, I think she came back around 290-ish, which obviously was lower than I thought she should be doing. So I took her back, chronoed her myself, and again it came out around somewhere between 280 290. I then took her up for a skirmish, and when I chronoed her there, it read 270, but that was set for 2s and I was running 2.5, so you know, somewhere around 290-ish, which is obviously the readings I was getting before, but was still significantly lower than I thought she should be doing, considering the spring had only been changed a few months before. So I had to bite the bullet, no pun intended, and put a new spring in, again an M95, which I never actually got to test because she is now not working. She will work on full auto, but she won't work on single shot. Now, I first noticed this because I was, I think, doing some stuff in my garden where I was changing springs and things, and I put a battery in, and it wasn't firing, but I could smell like a burning sort of smell, and I went to touch the battery and it was hot to the touch. It only been in there for all of about 30 seconds, so I obviously took that out and put a new battery in, same thing, and I think I tried 3 different batteries and it just would not work. So it wasn't smelling of burning anymore, but it just wasn't working. and my thoughts is that it's actually the trigger contact. I tried a different motor as well, so I knew it wasn't the motor that was the issue, which is an absolute ball ache actually, because it means I now have to spend money on a new part, which I don't actually have. But it's one of those things. But the fact I can't shoot it for a bit means I've been able to do, you know, all the external work I wanted to on it. Now, when I first got her, this was the stock that was on there. It's kind of a clubfoot sort of shaped stock. It's very big, it's very bulky, it's quite chunky, and for those of you who don't know, I'm 5 foot tall. So it was very difficult to shoot with, and it needed changing essentially. Likewise, the grip that was on there, again, it's quite big, it's quite chunky, and I've got, you know, relatively small hands. So I also looked to change that as well. Now I was expecting to be paying, you know, a fair amount of money on that until Foxtrot Oscar 00. So Lewis actually went to a boot sale at, I think it's the UCAP Redemption site, which is a prison in Portsmouth, and he actually came back with both a new stock and a grip for me. So if we have a look here, ta-da! This was the stock he got me. It was originally, so it was a second-hand stock. This is actually off an actual TM recoil, so it's a genuine, authentic stock. It's got all the numbers and things on it. It's amazing. It was a bit scratched up, and it had been half sprayed, like a kind of a, you know, dark earth or a tan sort of colour, but that was fine. I just stripped that and sanded it down. And he also got me this Magpul pistol grip, which was green when I got it, and both those were a tenner together, so they were £5 each, which is absolutely incredible because they're worth so much more than that. So yeah, that was great. So I took them back, I sanded their stock down, I primed it and painted it green. I then put a matte lacquer on it. I also did the same to the PEQ box and the tracer unit. Now the tracer unit was actually, I think, a birthday present from Foxtrot Oscar 00. This was originally black, and all I did was screw the top off, sanded it down, and sprayed it. The same with the PEQ. Now the PEQ was probably the most difficult because obviously I had to be the most careful with it. It's a 65, a £65, you know, light box. I can't risk anything going wrong with it, so I obviously had to cover all of the dials, the pressure pad and the stickers, tore everything with masking tape, which actually ended up peeling off the stickers, which was fine because I just literally double-sided sellotape them back on. The only thing that didn't really work was the red sticker, and no one would have noticed it, but I would noticed it. I don't know about you, but I want to feel good shooting this, and I actually ended up buying 150 red stickers just to put on a new one here. I'm glad I did, but yeah. I also sprayed my sight cover. Now the actual sight itself is huge, as you can see. It's bigger than one I usually run, but at the moment I'm having some trouble with headaches and my eye muscle being very weak, so it's just easier to focus on things with this. It sounds really ridiculous, but there you go. I've also put an angled foregrip on here in black. I haven't sprayed it yet because I'm doing everything bit by bit to make sure it's how I want it. And I've also bought some rail covers which are in green, which haven't arrived yet, but when they do I'll obviously put those on. I'll put that on Instagram so you can see the final product. Now in terms of this actual shade of green, it's not quite the shade I wanted. I did want more of an olive drab, but for now it's fine, and it starts to peel and chip. I'll just sand that down and redo it. In terms of actual customizations, this is literally all I've done, to be honest. The only issue was actually with the grip. It didn't actually fit at first, which meant I've had to sand down the inside a bit. I've actually had to take out this, which means the selector on one side doesn't actually work, but it's fine because I only need one side. I've left the left side on, which means I could turn it as I'm shooting. And the only other issue, which is actually a bit more of a bigger issue, is my motor doesn't actually fit anymore, which means I either have to sand down my grip some more or I'll have to get a new grip. But for now, it's later's issue. That is pretty much all I've actually done to my gun so far. I am looking to do a lot more internal changes, but I need money for that first, so we'll see. Thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Please like, please subscribe, please share. We are a very new Airsoft team in terms of actually getting out on social media, and we would love all your support. So thanks for now, and we will see you later. Bye!